Alrighty, y'all. Does anybody like cabbage rolls? If you do, I have got the perfect soup for you. So we're gonna start out by just dicing up an onion, and the original recipe called for 2 onions, and y'all know I love onions, but she said 2 small onions, and this is kind of a medium-sized onion. And I don't know, I've never made this before, so I just kind of, I just kind of go on a wing and a prayer around here, y'all. So I just went ahead and did 1 onion. So I just chopped it up. I didn't do it too small because I didn't want it to just disappear, into the soup, because I do like onion. And then you're just going to set your onion over to the side. We'll use that in a minute. And then we're going to go ahead and get our bell peppers cut up. And I did 2 bell peppers. And y'all know, or if you've been around for a minute and you've seen me chop a bell pepper, again, it may not look like anything fancy, y'all, but I don't like to leave the little white parts in there, the little ribbed parts, because they're bitter. I don't understand how people cook those into their recipes. I know a lot of people do it, and maybe y'all got different bell peppers than I got, but I can't do it. So anyway, once you get your bell pepper, kind of de-seeded and get the little white parts cut out, then I just wash it up, make sure because it's been at the store and you already know everybody's done touched it. And then I go ahead and make sure all, the seeds are off of there. And then you're going to just chop your bell peppers up, or dice your bell peppers up. And I did those too in not real fine slices, because again, you're going to be cooking this for a while and you don't necessarily want, your bell pepper to just disappear. And the original recipe, which I'll link down below, of course, she even says in here that, bell pepper's not really a traditional, ingredient in cabbage rolls. And y'all, I don't know why I dumped that from one plate back to the cutting board, then back to the plate, but anyway. But anywho, bell pepper's not a traditional ingredient in a cabbage roll, but she said that they liked it, so I thought, you know what, I like bell pepper, so I'm just going to go ahead and try it. So anyway, now we've got our bell pepper and our onions all ready. We're going to go ahead and get our cabbage chopped up, and you're just going to chop this into like bite-sized pieces. And I did probably 3/4 of this head of cabbage, because I wasn't real sure how much it was gonna, fit in my crock pot. And I just, of course, dump it over into my salad spinner, and then just wash it really, really good, because just like lettuce, cabbage can be mighty funky, y'all. You got to clean it, because it'll have dirt and leaves and trees and all kind of stuff down in there. So just get it all washed up real good, and then set it over to the side, let it drain up. Drain up. Y'all know what I mean. Let the water, let the water drain off of it. So while that's over there sitting and doing its thing, we're going to go ahead and get our ground beef all cooked up. Now, I'm sure you could use turkey, if, ground turkey, if you're not a fan of ground beef, or if you, prefer ground turkey. I've tried, y'all, and I might try to incorporate it again in some recipes for myself, but I just don't care for the taste of ground turkey. I've tried even seasoning it up. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it's just me, but anyway, moving on. You're just going to go ahead and get your meat and your onions all browned up. And I went ahead, now the recipe didn't say do this, but I just felt like I needed to, because cabbage, that's going to need some seasoning, y'all. So I went ahead and seasoned my meat up a little bit. Of course, all I did was just use a little bit of garlic and onion and some salt and pepper. And I didn't do too terribly much salt, because, we're going to be putting broth and, canned stuff over in here, and we don't want it to end up too salty. So I didn't want to put too much on my meat, because I'm going to salt my soup in a minute. So anyway, you're just going to go ahead and get this all browned up, and then make sure that you drain it real good, get all that extra grease out of there. And then we're going to start assembling this soup over in our crock pot, y'all. So starting out, we're going to go ahead and just dump our beef and onions down in the bottom of our pan. And like I said, make sure you drain that grease off good, y'all, because you don't want that. Now to our meat, we're going to add 1 can of tomato soup, not tomato sauce, tomato soup. And again, this was something that the lady who made this recipe had said. She said her husband has issues, like, I guess, with like acid reflux or whatever. And so the soup doesn't bother him as much as the tomato sauce does. So I thought, Lord, I'm old and I got to acid reflux too, so I'm gonna just do what she said. So 1 can of tomato soup, and then a can of diced tomatoes, or if you have ro-tel, use ro-tel. That would be really good in here. I didn't have any ro-tel, so I just used what I had. Then we're gonna take a 32-ounce container of beef broth. And I didn't have the small thing of beef broth. All I had was a big one. So I kind of guesstimated 32 ounces. And you'll see, I think I add maybe just a little touch more in here. Not much, in just a minute. But use a 32-ounce container. Then you're going to add a tablespoon of minced garlic. And then you're going to dump your bell pepper over in there. And then you're going to add 1 cup of long grain white rice. Now, don't use instant rice. I don't know if that would hold up in this soup because it's going to be cooking for a while. I'm not sure. So use real rice if you got it, y'all. And then I just went ahead and started dumping my cabbage over in there. I just got everything else mixed up good because I knew it would be a little harder to mix once I put all that cabbage in. And then you're just going to put as much cabbage as you want to put in there. If you want to put the whole head, I could have added a little bit more, but I had already chopped this up, and I thought, you know, when I started up, I said, that'll be plenty. So don't worry if you feel like this doesn't have enough liquid in it, because as you can see, you got a lot of cabbage sitting on top of your liquid. But y'all know that cabbage is going to cook down, and it's going to make liquid of its own anyway. And, you know, it's got, you see, it's got a whole lot of liquid in there. But like I said, I think I did put just a touch more over in there just to kind of bring it right to the top of the cabbage. Now at this point I went ahead and got to salt and peppering, y'all, because I was like, this ain't gonna have a lick of flavor if I don't put some seasoning in it, because you got all that rice and all that cabbage. So you just gonna mix that up real good. You know, make sure your rice is all mixed in there and that your cabbage is down in there good. And then just put the top on your crock pot and you're going to cook it on high. Okay, so the original recipe says 3 to 4 hours. I would only do it for 3, and I would get it out of there after 3, because let me tell you why. Now, y'all, this is good. The flavors are phenomenal. But I kind of thought, well, it ain't going to matter if I cook it a little longer. So I did go closer to 4 hours on this. And I feel like my rice got a little bit mushy, which it didn't matter. It still tasted really good. But if you like your rice to be more, you know, rice-like, then I would say cook it for a little bit less time than that. Maybe closer to that 3-hour mark. But this is it, y'all. The flavor is wonderful. It's really, really good. Oh my gosh, you've got to try this one. Now, make sure that you come on back on Wednesday, because I got another yummy crock pot recipe for y'all.